Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Partaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Graditam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvam Anusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim Yudra Marutah Stunvanti Devyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Hari Om. When we study, analyze every one of human pursuits, what all we are trying to do, trying to accomplish in our lives, you dig a little deeper, if you go deeper, you will find we are all working for independence, for happiness. Only for that happiness we are all working. All the other pursuits, whatever we go after, artha, kama, dharma, in and through all that, we are seeking freedom, moksha. We are seeking happiness, everlasting happiness. That's what we are looking for. Therefore, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajami aham. Mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha. Whoever comes to me with whatever desire, I bless them. I bless them with what they desire.
The reason for doing so is that the devotees approach me with appropriate efforts. They are following my path only. They are on the road that will take them to me. So my job is to bless them accordingly. Bhagavan is happiness, Satchit Anand, and they are trying to reach him only. So they seek him, and so he blesses them. He further adds, Kankshanta karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devataha kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Unfortunately, most people are interested only in the results of action, even when they are finite. Once they have made that choice, there are plenty of karmas, actions, rituals. They can do. Vows, vratas are prescribed in our scriptures also. And they go after varieties of deities, gods. They worship different gods. And those actions do yield results. And that too, very fast. When it comes to spirituality, the preparations to gain this knowledge, they are tough. And they take not just many months or years, but many births. So Bhagavan says, I have prescribed a lifestyle for a person to follow and thereby accomplish whatever material goals they have and also the spiritual goals. Such a life design is the Vedic life, Vedic design of life. What we call Varna, Ashrama, Dharma. Bhagavan said in the 13th verse, Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vivagashah Tasya Kartaram Apimam Vidhi Akartaram Avyayam. I have created this fourfold classification of society based on guna and karma, based on character and profession. So Bhagavan says, I remain involved in action. I am doing everything. Kartaram apimam. I am doing all actions. And yet, I have the knack of not being the doer inwardly. He says, I am doing the action, but I am not the doer. I am untouched by all actions. Actions don't touch me, untainted. I'm unaffected by the actions. I'm able to keep away from the action. I am asanga, unattached. Not only the actions do not bind me, the results of actions also do not bind me. So this idea is taken up for elaboration now. Let us see verse 14. Namam karmani limpanti, namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spruha, name karma phale spruha, iti mam yo bhijanati, iti mam yo bhijanati, karma birna sabhadyate. Karma birna sabhadyate. Namam karmani limpanti. Name karma pale spruha. Iti mam yobhijanati. Karma bhirna sabhadyate. So Sri Krishna says, karmas, actions, do not disturb me. Not only do actions not disturb me, karma phalas, the results of those actions, those results also don't bother me, don't trouble me. See, for us, our actions affect us. The results of our action affect us more. But Bhagavan says, karmani mam na limpanti. Actions do not touch me. Actions do not affect me one bit. They don't create any tensions for me. Anxiety from those actions, it's not there for me. Not only that, karma phale api me spruha nasti. I don't have concerns over the results of action. I don't worry about what the results are going to be. Every action will create an appropriate result. And the Lord will never do any injustice to me because I always get what I deserve. Not necessarily what I desire. God is always just. Whatever has to happen according to the laws of karma, it will happen. If you understand that, and if you have shraddha in that, I will not be concerned about the result. Incidentally, it's one thing planning for a certain result. That's one thing. But worrying about the results, that's a totally different thing. We need to understand this very clearly. I've spoken about it many, many times. Vedanta is never about or against planning. Planning is extremely important. Without plan, you cannot do anything. You just cannot act at random. And proper planning in the past makes me efficient in the present. Well-developed plans make it easier for implementation. Worrying about result hurts efficiency while you're executing the job. So we need to be very clear what is the role of planning. It does have a very important role. How do I know whether I'm planning or I'm worrying? Many people are actually worrying while they are thinking that they are planning. How to tell the difference? Very simple. Planning is a deliberate action that you can fix a time and place and gather information. And then you can plan accordingly. But when you talk about worry, it's not a deliberate action. You don't fix a time and place. I'm going to sit here at this time and start worrying. You don't do that. It's not a deliberate action. It's a helpless happening. It's a mechanical reaction. You don't plan to worry. It just happens. Therefore, you plan very well. You should plan before you take up an assignment, a project, everything. And then you decide to implement. Go ahead. Do not worry about the results. So Bhagavan says, Name karma palespruha. He's giving his own example. I'm not concerned about the results of action. How is he able to do that? The reason is kartritva bhava. The sense of doership is not there. When kartritva bhava is not there, consequently, bhoktrutva bhava, the sense of enjoyership, that also will not be there. When I have a strong sense of doership, that I have indeed done something, then I am very much attached to the results of whatever I have done. That is why it was said earlier, Tasya kartaram apimam vidhi akartaram. Even after having done, by knowing I have no sense of doership, I will not have a sense of enjoyership. So the point is, actions do not bind. It's a sense of doership and the consequent enjoyership. Karma does not bind you. That kartrutva, the consequent bhoktrutva, that is what binds you. Those are the two things that bind you. The third chapter also we saw. An ignorant man, he has a sense of doership because he's identified with his ego. Ahankara vimudhatma karta ahamiti manyate. Verse 27. The one who is identified with his ahankara, he says, I am doing this. That's what he thinks. Ignorant man. Contrast that with the wise man. The very next verse, verse 28 in the third chapter, it was said, Guna guneshu vartante. The gunas are acting in the field of gunas. Our body, mind, intellect, all of them are all products of Maya, guna. And the world thinks people around, everything you deal with in this world, they are also made by the same three gunas. They're all products of Maya. And they are interacting. Once you know that, iti matva na sajjate, knowing that he is not bound. The intelligent man who has this knowledge, he doesn't feel bound. Hey Arjuna, I have such a knowledge. That knowledge is power. And that is the best remedy for all problems. Physical problems can be solved by knowledge. Knowledge improves our mental health also. So he says, my weapon is knowledge. Bhagwan Vishnu has his Sudarshana Chakra. That is his weapon. It's discuss. Su indicates something that is right, efficient, good. Su. Darshana means vision or knowledge. That is what he has in his hand. So knowledge is the weapon. With this, weapon of right vision, Sudarshana, the Lord destroys Ajnana, ignorance. Ajnana Janya, Adhyasa also. Ignorance born, superimposition, that also gets destroyed with that Sudarshana. And Adhyasa Janya Karma, actions born out of that superimposition, they get destroyed. And then Karma Janya Punya Papa, the results of action, consequent Sukha Dukkha, joy and sorrow, what we call samsara, that also can be destroyed if we have the right wish. The weapon of knowledge, you definitely can get. Therefore, Maam Yaha iti abhijanati, the one who knows this secret of mine, gains freedom. Gains freedom in spite of activity, not freedom from activity. Not freedom from just the responsibility, but freedom in spite of vigorous action and taking on any amount of responsibility. Whoever discovers this knowledge, saha hi karma bihi na bhadyate. It's not bound by action. Just like Bhagavan is not bound by action, anyone can also be not bound by action, provided one gains this jnana. If he becomes this kind of jnani, he will also not be bound by action and its results. Yevam jnatva kritam karma, yevam jnatva kritam karma, purvairapi mumukshubhihi, purvairapi mumukshubhihi, kuru karmaiva tasmatvam, kuru karmaiva tasmatvam, purvai purvataram kritam, purvai purvataram kritam, evam jnatva kritam karma, purvairapi mumukshubhihi, kuru karmaiva tasmatvam, purvai purvataram kritam. Hey Arjuna, understand this. Evam jnatva, understanding it in this way. In what way? That Bhagavan has no doership, Bhagavan has no enjoyership, and therefore he is free. You understand that, and then you also act in a similar manner. My Swarupa, my nature, is the same as Bhagavan's. Therefore, if I also begin to perform actions in the same way, I also will not get bound. I'll be free. So he says the secret of knowledge, the secret of self-knowledge is really not that secret. Understand the secret of bandha and moksha. You understand what binds you and what will liberate you. All your forefathers possessed this knowledge. I'm not giving you anything new. This knowledge, this method has been employed very successfully Kritam karma, action was done. Purvaihi api mumukshubihi, in the past. This has been done for a long time by mumukshus, by seekers. So Bhagavan says, all your ancestors, your forefathers, who were mumukshus, seekers, who wanted this knowledge, they gained self-knowledge. I discussed this before and we will discuss elaborately later in this chapter. Self-knowledge has been gained by your ancestors. And they did not run away from the duties and responsibilities, unlike you, who is trying to escape. They remained where they were in their lives. They were householders. They ruled their kingdoms. You come in their lineage. They were all kings. They ruled the kingdom. They had that responsibility and they did it so well. They were not affected. They were extremely busy. And yet, they had that inner peace in spite of all their activities. Arjuna, now you want to run away from the battlefield and do bhikshatanam. You want to beg for food. And you think that's the path to moksha. So you claim that you are a mumukshu, seeker of liberation. If you are such a seeker, do not run away from action. Just give up your attachment to action. Give up the attachment to the results of action. That's all what you need to do. Why are you worried? You are crying. Yadva jayema yadiva no jayeyuhu. Whether they will win or I will win, crying like a baby. Why are you bothered about all that? Do not have any karma phala spruha, any attachment to the results of action. That's not the right thing to do. Tasmat, therefore, you, tvam, kuru karmaiva. Only do your duty. And don't take to sannyasa now or anything like that. It's not the time to do that now. This is the time to act. Just do it. Just do your work. Tell me if you are a seeker. As a mumukshu, you should have chitta shuddhi, purity of mind. Do you have it? If you don't, do karma yoga. Get the purity of mind. If you think you are already a jnani, then again, you have to work for loka sangraha, welfare of the society. If you are an ajnani, you have to do your kartavya karma, the bounden duties, without doership and enjoyership, and purify your mind. If you are already a mukta purusha, if you are already liberated, a jnani, then such a person is not afraid of work. He's not going to gain anything by working. He's not going to lose anything by not doing something. If you are a tattvavit, if you are a knower of that reality, you should do karma. We went through all this in the third chapter. All this logic. Any which way you look at the situation, you should act. I already told you. Great people like Janaka and other Mahatmas have done so. If they can do it, why can't you? So, purvaihi, purvatanam kritam. Do the same thing that your forefathers, ancestors, what all they did. Follow their example. So here you may say that Bhagavan is prescribing jati-based profession. Not really. This is a very specific action that he has to take on the battlefield. He's already taken up the profession of being a Kshatriya. This is not something before choosing his profession. No. So, do not bring such arguments here. Regardless, there are excellent examples from the past that one can follow. Now, some people will say, why should I follow all those old people? I'll do what I want to do. That's okay. But even if you want to do something different, must be sensible. Just for the sake of doing something different. You should be doing something dumb. Arjuna is thinking in a strange way. Thinking is funny. He's thinking, if you want me to do something, just say so. Don't drag old people into this discussion. So the Lord says, Arjuna, you're really wonderful. I ask you to do something, and then you ask me and you question me. Has anybody done that? Or am I your guinea pig? And then I give you examples. Then you ask, why should I follow what they did? This is not just Arjuna. This is what our children do. All of you, most of you have raised your children. You have met with this question from them. Why blame our children? That's just what we do also. So Bhagavan explains, let me tell you something. See, this topic of karma is really baffling. It's very subtle, very subtle. Many times in our life, we'll come under situations not knowing what is right and what is wrong. What is kartavya, what is to be done. Not easy to decide. That can be answered by precedents only. Examples are not there. We will have nothing to go by. Now comes a beautiful set of verses and profound discussion. Let us see. Verse 16. Kim karma kima karmeti, kim karma kima karmeti, kavayopyatra mohitah, kavayopyatra mohitah, tatte karma pravakshyami, tatte karma pravakshyami, yajñātvā mokṣase shubhāt. Yajñātvā mokṣase shubhāt. Kim karma kimakarmeti kavayopyatra mohitah tatte karma pravakshyami yajñātvā mokṣase shubhāt. Bhagavan presents jnana, knowledge, as a safeguard, as an armor. Once you say jnana is the solution for the problems of stress, strain, tension, suffering, all that we experience, the question comes, jnana about what? Never refer to jnana, knowledge, without an object of knowledge. What must I do? What knowledge must I acquire? Here, he talks about, more specifically, about the nature of karma. What exactly is action? Where does it arise? To whom does action belong? We've been taking action for granted. We feel that we are doing so many actions. So we say, I'm doing the action. So if you think action belongs to you, then what exactly do you mean by the word you or the word I? I do, if you claim. What is that I which is doing? So we have to get into this basic inquiry. What is the nature of karma and where does this karma arise? This inquiry is important because we have taken for granted that I do actions. So many things we take for granted, and later we come to find something we believed for centuries is not correct at all. So many examples we can give. For example, the geocentric theory was proven to give way to heliocentric theory. The Earth is not the center of the universe. The sun is for this, this galaxy. So such things, so many mistakes we have made, assuming something. The basic mistake is that I am doing all actions. So you got to think about it. So Bhagavan points out, hey Arjuna, you are not doing any action. You are not doing any action at all. This is going to be such a revelation. So Bhagavan says, if you want to get out of the tension caused from performing your duties and responsibilities by acting in your life, you should know exactly what is the nature of karma, action. Grant you, it is not such an easy topic. Great philosophers have analyzed this topic for a long time. So Bhagavan says, Kavayaha api mohitaha. Atra, herein, on this topic of karma, Kavayaha api, even great thinkers, mohitaha, they're confused. Great thinkers, great philosophers are confused. Kim karma iti. What exactly is karma? What is action? They are confused. Further, kim akarma iti. What is akarma? What exactly is actionlessness? What exactly is inaction? So what is action? What is inaction? Iti atra kavayah api. Here, kavi means scholar, learned person. Of course, kavi also means a poet. But that is not the meaning here. Here, it refers to learned people, thinkers, philosophers, like that. Even they are confused. You may think, what is all the confusion? I'll tell you a short story. You might have heard this before, but it's really a funny story. There was a great logician, professor of logic in a university. He may be a professor in the university, but at home he's a husband. So his wife asked him, go to the provision store and get me half a liter of oil. I'm sure when we are growing up in India, we go to a local shop with a can. If you want to get oil or some liquid like that, we go there. The shopkeeper will measure and pour the oil into the can and we bring it home. This absent-minded professor, when his wife asked him to go to the store and get me some oil, he started walking to the store. Didn't take the can in his hand. So he went there and asked the vendor to give him some oil. Since he did not have a container, and the shopkeeper, he's not the one to say, go get something, some container. No. He doesn't want to give up a business. So he immediately improvised. He poured oil into a paper cup. Or in those days, the old newspaper will be folded into a cone and they can pack anything in it. These are all tricks of that mom and shop vendors. Anyway, he made a cup out of that, and then into that he poured that oil and gave it to him, and he started walking back home. Suddenly he began to think, let us see now, is the oil supporting the paper cup or the paper cup supporting the oil? If the oil were not there, the paper cup will fly away. If the paper cup were not there, oil will just spill. Therefore, there seems to be an anyonya ashraya, a mutual dependence. Very good. This is what is called vyartha vichara, useless. Anyway, he further thought, if it were so, maybe there is another entity that supports them both. Yes, it is my hand, which is supporting both the paper cup and the oil. Okay. All theories, right, must be supported by empirical evidence. With any theory, then you develop a hypothesis and that has to be tested. Okay. And then you gather empirical evidence, whether it supports that theory or not, that the hypothesis can be proved or the alternate hypothesis can be disproved. This is the scientific way. So he, being a scientist, a logician, okay, I'll do that experiment. I'll remove my hand and see whether my theory is right. Okay, that's the end of the story. And don't wait for further elaboration. You may think that I'm exaggerating here, asking what kind of a fool would do such a thing. may be true, but when people are confronted with situations, especially tricky decisions have to be made, they go through such convoluted logic. What is karma? What is a karma? Where is the confusion? Something I do, that is karma. I don't do it, that is a karma. Case closed. It's not as simple as that. We will see. Bhagavan explains in the next verse. So, tatte karma pravakshyami. Tat karma is action topic, being a very subtle topic. Te pravakshyami, I'll speak to you about it. This is not just an academic discussion. It's a very practical value in life. Yat jnatva, if you know this, moksha se ashubhat, you will be free from all types of pain in the mind. Ashubha. Ashubha means amangalam, inauspiciousness. All sorrows caused by anxieties, worries, tension, jealousy, you name it. They can all be relieved by knowing this secret about the nature of action. Now, the world seems to determine whether you are happy or unhappy. You are not in control. I'll give you a simple example, nice example. Do you want to be a thermometer or a thermostat? What does a thermometer do? It's an indicator, it's a measuring device, and it tells you what the ambient temperature is. And it'll keep going up and down depending upon the outside temperature. A thermostat, on the other hand, is set at a certain temperature, and it actually controls the surroundings. When you have a thermostat attached to air conditioner or a heater, and you set at a certain temperature, it'll turn the air conditioner on or the heater off, what have you, so that the temperature comes back to the desired temperature that you've set. A jnani is one who is a master of all situations. He has an inbuilt thermostat. On the other hand, an ajnani has only a thermometer in his hand. Constantly looks at it. As the mercury goes up and down, his mood goes up and down. He is pulled up and thrown down. He is enslaved by the external situations. Therefore, by gaining this knowledge about what is karma, what is akarma, you will be released from the tyranny of the world. And you will be unaffected by karma. You will be untouched by karma pala. You will be moksha se ashubhat. You will be free from ashubha. That means you will be free from samsara. If you want to know how, come next week, you will find out. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.